everything is in my head. I'm a contractor or a house flipper. This is just random industry. What would you do, step one, two, and three, to start the process of these systems and processes?
I would go, Daryl, help me out here because as an engineer, you can't help yourself but model everything. And you've already got a one, two, three checklist in a nice, pretty picture that makes it easy for me to understand, haven't you? And I'd go, yes, sorry, I am a geek. That's me. You've seen right through me. That's what I did. So I've written a paper. It's on the website. We'll find a link for you to put in the show notes. It's called Eliminate Owner Dependence. And the reason I wrote it is I see a lot of people out there talking, hey, look, you got to you got to make the business more resilient. You got to eliminate owner dependence. But no one's telling you how to do it. They're just telling you what to do and they haven't given you any guidelines. So I wrote this paper. It's just a bit of a checklist and it says, here's the things you need to do to get you on the path to eliminating owner dependence. First thing you need to do is model your business. You need a structure. You need a framework. What does the business look like? Let's turn it on its side to the normal corporate org chart. An org chart is Quinton does this, Daryl does that, Kevin does this, Charlie does that, Annie does this. It's an org chart where it's based around who does what. And I'm going, yeah, that's good when you've got 1,000 people in the business. What about when we've got 10 growing to 20, growing to 30? Then we need to go, let's stop, let's have a look at everything that needs to be done. Let's map out the business and capture all of the what's. What needs to happen? So we'll create a functional chart based on all the what's. And I'll go, well, we need some finance, we need some marketing, we need some operations, we need some sales, we need some HR perhaps, we need some systems and IT information systems, where there's a strategy role, there's a whole lot of functions that need to be done. And once we map out all the functions, we might go, we've got 20 functions, but only 10 people, just to give an example in an SME. So that means each person is doing 2 or 3 functions. Now that's okay because as long as we map out everything that needs to happen, as the business grows, that list of things that need to happen doesn't grow. It stays the same. It's just how much time we spend in each one of those areas that makes a difference. So if we're product delivery is the same. Now, instead of one person doing it, we've got 50 people doing it. They're all just replicating the same thing. So the first thing we need is a functional chart to map out the whole business. And the value of that is that it stops things from slipping through the cracks. Business owners go, Daryl, I'm spinning all these plates. I'm spending 100 hours a week just keeping the plates spinning. Or fighting fires is another one. What they're saying is, I copied they'll say, yeah, I've got an organizational chart. I copied a corporate one. And I copied a corporate one and I didn't have a person in that role or a person in that role, which means it just got missed out. And so things are slipping through the cracks where things need to be done, but they're not assigned. And as they flare up, or there's no one else is doing it, it's down to me. So I have to go and do it. So that's what's happening, and that's why they're losing control of their business and they're working too many hours. So number one, create a functional chart. Number two, define all of the jobs, all of the things that need to be done under each of those functions, and identify the workflow from one task to the next task. Now, you've now got a map of what needs to be done, and you've got a model and a map of how your business works. I'm not talking about how cash flows through your business. I'm talking about how work flows through your business. And that's what you want to understand as an operations. And then you get your CFO at the end to go, tell me how it works financially and how much can I afford to scale it and grow it and what have you. So we're eliminating owner dependence. So we've documented the business model, all the things that need to be done. Then we document and systemize it, how tasks flow from one to another. Because they're documented and we can train people on how to follow it, we can identify how we can improve it. We can identify the reporting steps. What information do we need to track to make sure that the process is on track and being followed? And now I've got the starting point for a nice little business that is not dependent on me, because it's all documented and I can train other people into doing it. It's no longer in my head, it's on paper specifically. So we've got a document, as I say, it's called Eliminate Owner Dependence. We'll put a link in the show notes, and you'll be able to download it, come to our website, download it, and it'll just give you a checklist or a cheat sheet on how to do what I just described.
Beautiful. One of the things that people can do when they do visit your website is kind of hop on a consultation call with you guys. Do you guys have specific requirements or a buy box, for lack of better words, for businesses to work with you, size, industry, or anything that you guys are
Where
selected?
we're really good is businesses in that 2 million to 50 mil revenue bracket. Now, there's always businesses outside of that, but that's our sweet spot where we do most of our work. The owners are in their 50s or older. They've got more than 10 or 15 people in the business because it's an established business. They've got a management layer in the business. And so we can really help them with the getting off the tools themselves and getting themselves out of key roles. So I've given you the number of people, the size of the business in terms of revenue. The industry is pretty general. I'm going to say traditional businesses, i.e. we don't work with people who do property development and just flipping houses. That's not our gig. We'll do a little bit of SaaS, but SaaS type businesses is a different type of business model. We're more I call it traditional businesses. It's probably not the right term, but it's shop fronts. It's where we've got a number of people and people doing stuff and having job roles. So whether it be manufacturing or distribution or retail, even restaurants, it's where people are involved doing gigs and they've got different roles. They're the type of businesses we do our best work in.
Do you see that? I mean, naturally speaking, when you mention SaaS, for example, they're going to have a better idea because the entire business model is based on technology, which is usually based on processes and systems. Do you see specific industries that do better than others in terms of becoming ready for sale? Out of the list that is within your buy box, I should say. So like whether it's a brick and mortar retail front or maybe a niche service business like an air conditioning or a plumbing or a manufacturing, kind of in that window of things.
I'm going to be difficult and say it's more down to the mindset of the owner. And part of that is, if you think of a teenage male, we've probably all known a teenage male. And if you watch them and you step back and you're at least in your 30s, you can see that progress, that development as a teenage male from 15, 16. They're defining themselves in the world, and they want to do everything themselves. They want to define their own roles. Their parents are idiots, type of mindset, and you have to do it all yourself. By the time you get to about 2021, it's amazing how much your parents have learned over those years and that they've grown up and matured. And at 21, 22, your dad's not such a bad bloke and actually enjoy sitting down and having a beer with dad. It's okay. And you can do that from 18 in the UK. So, and yeah, so you just go through that journey. Business owners go through a similar journey of I have to do everything myself. I have to have all the answers. I'm not looking for help. I've got to do it all myself. And they'll do that from one person, making all the decisions up to about 10 people. And after about 10 people, that's about $1 million in revenue. If they can figure out how to make the switch after that, that's about the time they engage their first consultant to give them some help, and they go, actually, how do I take this beyond $1 million? How do I create a management team, a management layer that I can delegate to, but not lose control of the business? How do I start to scale this to the next level? If I've got it to 1 mil, how do I get it to 5? Because or 3 is the next logical step. 1 to 3 to 10 to 30 to 100 type of thing. Is tripling. So yeah, it's more about the mindset of the owner and if they're willing to learn and adapt and grow and evolve themselves, because the fish rots from the head. Everything is a reflection of them in their business. And if they don't grow and evolve, the business won't.
What's going on, guys? If you like that clip right there, you will love the full interview. You can check that out right there. I'll see you on the next video. Oh, and subscribe because we got a lot of big things coming up in the near future.